Okay, I'm trying it from public now. My phone doesn't have, okay, join as guest. Okay, it's working now.
So we got people joining the old live meeting. I mean the old
The Skype.
Okay, I'm trying it from public now. My phone doesn't have, okay, join as guest. Okay, it's working now.
It is working. Let me,
That was me. That was you hearing me from my phone talk to, yeah, on the guest. So it's.
you're anonymous.
Yeah, I got in. I got in as a guest on my phone.
Okay.
Okay. Are people in?
Where does it show people are in?
It says I'm seeing 30 attendees climb at the top.
Maybe only you get to see that.
Yeah, because I can only see 4 attendees.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because you're the only owner of this, you only get to see
I'm
that.
the producer or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, I see people posting now. This is good. Do I have to like publish all these things? Kind of annoying. They're saying there's an echo. That one.
Yeah, I don't have a headset that's working right now, unfortunately. My stupid buds aren't clicking in. So I'm gonna have a PC mic. Actually, I can still plug in a headset. Okay. So you can see my VS Code.
Yes.
We can see the notes.
Yes.
Cool.
I posted the link in the Skype meeting. Darwin clicked it and says it's asking him to install Teams even though he has it.
That I cannot help with.
Maybe it's an older version. I don't know.
This is going to be a painful
live.
I knew this was going to be a painful one, but we got to work out the kinks because we can't use Skype anymore. So,
all right, but you're showing like 30 odd people have joined, and I see some
34 people, and I can't. And they're publishing questions in the Q&A. Can you see the Q&A?
No, I can see that.
Okay.
A couple of hoots and echo.
Echo's all gone now. Seems to be okay at the moment. Hello. I'm connected. Woohoo. I'm just missing these. This link worked for me.
So Darwin's issue was Opera.
Oh. I guess if you guys can hear us, I guess the one thing I'll say is we don't have a camera live feed this time because we're still working out some of the kinks. But I hope we'll get that working next time. Otherwise, if we have sufficient quorum, maybe we can just get going.
I think so. Oh, we wanted to talk about PowerShell 7. We got stuff related to Windows. And then we wanted to talk about provider model opportunities, functions. There's one more thing that I am definitely forgetting, but that I will remember as time goes on. Yeah. So let's give it. I'm gonna give it like 2 more minutes, just because I know people are still streaming in. I'm seeing the 37 attendees climb up. I can plug in these headphones here. Power. All right, can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Cool, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Can folks on the public, are they, does the meeting chat work?
Joel says that he can't hear the call and type on mobile. I don't know if that's a Teams app problem.
Yeah, I had it working on my phone. Audio, video, screen share working for me. Can't hear the call, can't type on mobile. You should be able to hear. I heard just fine on my phone. Can you reply to this?
Oh, you should have said very strange. You should have said very vexing. See, then it would have been funny.
Well, next time.
Because he's.
Recording. Okay, cool. So this is already recording. Great. Okay, so we're going to start with PowerShell 7, talking about this. We're going to leave some time at the end, obviously, for Q&A. Q&A. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. I know this is a pain, but we unfortunately do really have to get off Skype for various reasons. Not least of which because we had lots of issues on that side as well. But we will definitely have these kinks worked out by next time, and hopefully everyone's clients get all set up correctly this time around, so they can join the Teams call more easily. At some point, we'll also work on the bridge to Skype or to Twitch. So there'll be some way that we can sort of double stream this for the PowerShell Live folks. So thank you. Working out kinks. Yeah.
Tyler just walked in the room. Just so you know, in the room we have Sydney, Sean, Jim, Tyler, and myself right now. Taking some space. Yeah, well, unfortunately with the Teams Live, I don't see a way to invite the room. So.
Yeah, that's tough.
What's the room?
4153. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. There is not.
Yeah, that button doesn't exist here.
Even for me. Okay.
Even in God mode.
Even in God mode, and I'll make you guys all God mode next time. I just didn't. I couldn't figure out how to do it before. I'll figure it out.
No worries.
Okay, so PowerShell 7. This one we had talked about. For those of you who frequent the community call, we had discussed this already. But I think due to Jeffrey having a little bit of a wider reach on Twitter, he did a talk that I gave at the MVP Summit in New York about some of the future-looking stuff that we're doing. And so a lot of folks were seeing PowerShell 7 for the first time from a slide that got published on Twitter, which is fine. We've been open and transparent about stuff. It prompted us to publish a blog, which if you've not read, you should definitely check out on our blog, talking about. And I will publish a link to blog here. It's basically talking about our plans to move PowerShell to .NET Core 3, to move it to a new major version, and to eventually ship that into Windows with an increased set of backwards compatibility, and then really make PowerShell 7 the de facto sort of PowerShell going forward, which is why in general usage, we're going to drop core from the name. If you need to use core to differentiate, you still can. The addition will still be there, but we're just saying this is the future of PowerShell, and realistically, you should go to this thing that's a bigger number than all the things before it. Definitely want any kind of feedback, questions on any of that, whether you've read the blog or not. We don't have a timeline on when that'll be shipping into Windows, and we don't actually have a strong timeline on when PowerShell 7 itself will GA, but we are, I think, tentatively gating the release on validation that we're going to do of the remaining incompatible inbox Windows modules. So we'll continue the analysis that we did back in the Server 2019 timeframe, and we have all this data about what's blocking module compatibility today, and we know that a number of those things are going to come back in that Core 3. So we're hoping to have a build of that within the next few weeks, maybe a month and a half. Steve, do you feel strong about any kind of ETA there? Or are we still pretty much in the dark on when
I think until we have something that is kind of working, I don't want to provide an ETA right now.
Okay, yeah, so no ETA, but the next preview will be a 7 preview built on top of NetCore 3. And we will then go back and re-examine what compatibility has increased and mark more of these modules as compatible. So yeah, I think that this is sort of completing the arc. We took PowerShell out of Windows. We built it up as a cross-platform open source project. We got our governance in order. We made some breaking changes to sort of conform better to Linux and to fix some stuff that had been broken in the past. And this is sort of us finishing full circle now, delivering the value that we've created in 6 back to more traditional Windows customers by going in box and by working with the modules that they're used to using already. So hoping that this, sort of satisfies the side of the fence that was not, as didn't find maybe the Linux enhancement as useful or didn't, need greenfield, new PowerShell. So I see some questions popping in. I am dismissing a few of these that are just the Q&A. The Q&A is a bit goofy. I don't know why the chat is not exposed to you guys. Sorry, not sure why chat isn't exposed to you, because we have it, but it looks good to me. You see here, can we do audio on here? I don't think, oh, that is definitely a problem. Okay,
What?
Yep, so in the Skype call, we are all peers, and so people could talk, and now other people can't talk, which I actually don't like at all. Figure that out for sure, because I want you guys to be able to come on and talk. I don't know if there's a way for me to like promote an attendee to a presenter.
I don't know. I'm actively looking at all the chat QA and publish them as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Feeling we're gonna have to switch back to the.
We should just go to Twitch. At least it has a better chat.
Well, Twitch doesn't have a bidirectional voice either.
That's true, but at least the chat works better.
I mean, this is working. I'm just like, I see them come in and I could just reply. I think you guys just all need to be the God mode or whatever.
Wait.
Just
don't publish them if they're not useful though.
No, but I want people to see that they're okay. We'll figure out how to make that work. Right now,
Yep.
Maximo says he lost audio, but I think that's just him.
Yeah. So Darwin says it is confusing when people who are not familiar with PowerShell's release history wonder why we aren't installing PS6 or 7 everywhere. Yeah, so the goal here is to make 7 so compatible and to validate that it's that compatible that by the time we ship it, there's no question about why we wouldn't install it everywhere. That's the whole idea, is for us to go, you should be installing it because it works with everything. We're going to maybe hardline a few more of those compatibility scenarios, like the Windows compatibility module. There's certain things like IIS administration that we know are not going to work anytime soon. .NET has no plan to support system.web to NetCore 3. So there's going to be a few gaps, but we want to just say, 7 is what you should be moving to, full stop. And that is true, Corbob, but we are publishing them very quickly. Yeah, we will be bothering the teams, guys. Thank you. Yep, aware that there's only a questions pane. Yeah, probably Darwin, but we're gonna push them pretty hard on this. Max says audio is back. I see the editor. Is there video on another screen? No, there's not. Yeah, no camera room at this time. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So I said a bunch of stuff about PowerShell 7 that I'm gonna have to fill in here in the notes. But yeah, I want to talk really quickly about our telemetry, because there's some stuff that's been going really well with it and some opportunities for growth. to hopefully be able to share this window.
There's a quick question on snap-ins.
Yes.
I just want to mention that there are no plans to bring snap-ins back. However, what I would recommend is probably reaching out to Citrix. I'll publish this question after I answer this here. Reaching out to Citrix is like the way to convert a snap-in to a module is actually very straightforward, and I'm pretty sure we already had a blog post on it. I mean, the short version is you create a module manifest, you delete the old snap-in code, and magic happens. So
in some cases, you don't even, you can just treat the, in some cases, you can just treat whatever it is that they've delivered as a module and just import the assembly that is mentioned, and you don't need to go through add snap and none of that.
Yeah, we converted a few of those, and in some cases, the code that was blocking the direct import of the PSD1 was not actually being like followed by Windows PowerShell, so it was still actually getting loaded as a module, even though the PSD1 was shown as a snap-in. So, like Jim said, you might be able to just skip it and import the DLL directly or the PSM1. So I want to show this real quick. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been growing our usage. If you look over here in the upper right, usage has been growing over time. We passed 11 million actually in March, which was another like 18% boost over February. This is actually what I'm really excited about down here because these dark gray bars are 6.2. And this shows the sort of rapidness that people are updating. You can see like this is the day we GA'd here with 12,000, excuse me. And then, today, we had 83,000 yesterday. And so, this is sort of proving why package management is a good thing and why, people are able to upgrade very quickly when the versions maybe don't have quite as much change between them, right? So this is really our whole cloud cadence model of shipping on a more frequent basis, shining for the first time. So thank you, everybody. Just, really wanted to say that. Steve, was there any more of the BI that was really interesting right now?
Right now, nothing that I saw. Ubuntu has basically from the last time I took a look at it.
Ubuntu continues to grow the overall share. This one's also very interesting, which is that the bulk of our usage is on a Windows 10, for Windows at least, some sort of Windows 10 SKU. At some point, I don't think we have plans to get rid of Windows 7 support, and I think people saw Azure's announcement that they're going to offer extended support for 7 and 2008 R2 for another 3 years. People migrate their workloads to Azure, so this is like I don't think we'll get rid of this unless it continues to fall, but it's something we might look at some point if the maintenance cost is high. Cool. Going back here, I don't know how to rapidly switch share the other window now. Okay. Telemetry notes. People are upgrading fast. Past 11 million and upgrading fast.
So Keith Hill had some questions about whether the only way to get PS7 on Windows is going to be through Windows Update or get updates that way. So just to answer, I already answered kind of a question on it, but I want to kind of dig into another thing that's going to be happening. Kind of mention on the community call. So we will continue to provide preview builds on GitHub. We're going to publish. We'll try to get the stable releases back into Windows whenever that works out with the Windows date. But also, I'm also working on getting a version of 6.2 published to the Microsoft Store. So I'm hoping that will show up. I'm not optimistic about this month right now, but probably in May. But so that'll make it easier for at least client SKUs on Windows 10 to install it. But it won't work on server, and I don't believe it's supported on down level the Microsoft Store. So.
But I want to make a point, which I think is where Keith's fear is coming from, or at least the way I interpreted the question. GitHub is still the master place where all releases happen. All versions of PowerShell 7 will still be open source. They will still ship on GitHub. There will still be MSIs. There will still be X-copyable zips. And that train will always be ahead of what is in Windows because we're gonna ship on the cadence we've been shipping on and continue to do that. You'll just get that based on the servicing channel that you're in Windows. You may get a big update. You may get a smaller servicing update. You still have to work out the support lifecycle stuff. But you know, if you want to manage the version of PowerShell on your machine, you're still going to have full side-by-side ability. I think the way that we're going to have PowerShell 7, at least initially, is as a feature on demand, which means that it can be uninstalled. We don't know if we're going to be able to do that forever. We may have Windows teams take a hard dependency on PowerShell core at some point. But you know, if you want to just say, nope, I don't want the inbox version, you know, on day one, I want the latest version that's sitting on GitHub, that's still totally something you can do. Cool. Feel free to ignore someone coming 15 years with Linux world. Oh, you just published that away from me.
Oh, sorry. You know, one thing I realized is when I hit publish and I have a reply, it doesn't also post my reply. So that really sucks.
It says is replying to this post.
No, but I don't know where it is now, my reply, because I should have hit reply first and then post. But anyways.
Yeah. So what's the best resource for your opinion to get up to speed with PowerShell? So if for someone that has a technical background, I would recommend Bruce Pant's book, first and foremost, which is PowerShell in Action. PowerShell in Action, right, Steve?
Yes.
Yep, that was Jim's answer.
Yep. Bruce was one of the architects, or the architect, I guess, on the original PowerShell, and talks a lot in the book about the motivation behind PowerShell and you know, sort of the way that it was built, the way how it is, and sort of gives references to other languages, because Bruce is a total language didact and knows all these programming languages and can relate to many of them, why he made the decisions that he did. So it's really yeah, it's a great one. PS Cones is also awesome. I think Joel's on the call right now, and is just a way to sort of learn over time. For somebody that just wants like IT pro, like I just need to be able to do my job better, automate some small stuff. You know, I always recommend Don Jones's month of lunches, PowerShell in a month of lunches. But I think for somebody that's already technical, that might be a little thing. Any plans to stop shipping Windows PowerShell with Windows once PowerShell 7 ships in the box from Mike? Maybe. At most, it would just be off by default. I think what's going to happen with Windows PowerShell is it's going to go the route of PowerShell 2, and it's, you know, eventually, and I like I'm talking probably years, going to be you know, off by default and can be re-enabled for compatibility reasons. But right now, we think that they're going to be side by side, and one of the big reasons we're putting the 7 there and you know, differentiating with the icon and all that is because we want to drive people to the new PowerShell. But we recognize that there are just too many workloads that depend on, you know, PowerShell.exe and system.management.automation just being there every time. So it's something we're going to have to, you know, do very slowly over the course of the next couple of years. How about server SKUs? Yeah, same thing. So I think Steve's reference from server versus client was mostly around the Microsoft Store, but PowerShell 7 is going to go in as a feature on demand again, which is supported on the server SKUs, and it will be in all of them. I know that server doesn't ship or hasn't shipped quite as frequently as client has been, so I'm not sure if they're going to land at the exact same time. You know, we're going to go into some form of Windows as soon as we have the support lifecycle worked out with the .NET team and how we're going to handle that. And you know, if server is ready to ship, then we'll go with them, and if not, you know, they'll be in the next release of server. I'm glad you're happy to have it in the store. Yep, that'll also make updating easier. There will be, by the way, some limitations with the store version. Unfortunately, you know, it has its own PS Home that's not writable by the user, so there's some bugs we need to work out with the way that the PowerShell configuration works in the PS Home directory. Steve, there's also some stuff around remoting or something like that.
No. Just to be clear, remoting works. So the fundamental constraint right now with the basically the AppX version, which is an MSIX package, is that it installs to a location not under program files that is not writable by even an administrator. So it's only write access for trusted installer and local system. So the problem is a lot of our command lists today expect that they can write their configuration for scope all users to PS Home. So they can't do that with the MSIX. So we'll have to make some changes to those command lists so we can write it to a different place. And there's some logical places for that under like local data, app data, something like that. But in the interim, until we get that fixed, what that means is that you can't, for example, create a new PS session configuration because that command that will try to write it to PS Home and it'll fail. But as a client, you can certainly use PowerShell remoting. You just won't be able to configure custom PS session configurations. But you should still be able to enable PS remoting from that instance. So there's a couple other commandlets that do, like for example, in PS Home we have the PowerShell config JSON file. So you won't be able to modify that for all users. You can only do it for yourself in your home directory, under a location under your home directory. So that's another problem we'll have to resolve again in the future. But outside of those kind of issues, from running our test suite and from doing some ad hoc testing, it works just fine. There's only one other issue that prevents me from kind of publishing right now is that when you first start it, it will start in System32, which is very annoying. This is kind of by design from the AppX model. But there is a way to work around it. I'm working through it. Not trivial.
Can I sort by? I can't sort by unreplied.
No, this whole thing is not the best. I'll put
no.
that.
Hopefully, inclusion in Windows doesn't mean we only get PowerShell updates via Windows Update. Yeah, so we addressed that one. Definitely not. Definitely not. GitHub will always get the latest. Snap-ins. Yes.
I got this bunch of 8 new ones. Like
All right, are we really good on questions?
I think for now you can probably continue. Some clarification on some of Maximo's questions.
Right. So Keith said again, you know, this deja vu of like, okay, when we took it out of Windows, it was so we could ship faster. And yes, we don't want to lose that, and we want people who are on the cutting edge to be able to rock on the cutting edge for as long as they want. So definitely, that will not be going away. I think we can move on to our next topic now, if that's okay.
On for now, we'll get through the questions in a bit.
Yeah, I think the questions. Oh, I'm not looking at the new tab, of course.
Yeah, I know exactly. You have to keep clicking between the two. It's very annoying. There's a bunch of questions about DSC. I don't think we in this room can really answer that. One thing I can say is there is a team of engineers working on DSC vNext. Michael Green is the PM. He's the best person to ping on Twitter if depending on what he's able to share. One thing I can say is it is something that is still being invested in. There are engineers working on it. They're not quite as where we are with the PowerShell project that we can talk about where things are. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I can speak to it slightly. Like I'm working with Michael on a few things. We've been having a lot of conversations, especially around like invoke DSC resource. We don't have anything committed, but like Steve said, there's a bunch of engineers who've been working on DSC for a long time. In the context of the Azure guest config, I want to say, offering, and you know we still need to work out you know if and when and how that all gets productized. But you know really it would be very helpful to understand the kinds of scenarios that people want to do with DSC and PowerShell 7, especially on non-Windows platforms. And sort of like the way that you want to be invoking that and whether you're using it with other configuration management technologies and whether or not you plan on writing a bunch of new resources for your internal organization, or if you expect the existing resources to work, because many of those are highly tied to Windows. So there's lots of considerations here, and really getting more information, for me at least, about what people are trying to do with DSC and 7 is good. Is there a replacement for PowerShell 3 MVA yet, perhaps on a newer MVA for core? Yeah, so we're talking to the Microsoft Learn folks, because I think it's MVA, Microsoft Virtual Academy, that's being retired. Am I correct? Is that the?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah, so that's been publicly stated. Microsoft Learn is really the new place that all this content's going to get built, and we're beginning to engage with Microsoft Learn. I'm probably going to do a new Azure Friday that talks about Azure and PowerShell Core, and we realize that a lot of the content is like basically pegged to version 3. Same thing with like our SDK documentation content. I had a conversation with Rob Holt, I guess, talked to you, Steve, and we would like to, and Sean's on the call. We've had a plan for a very long time to integrate a lot of that Windows PowerShell SDK documentation into the TOC, but it's blocked behind a few other things that we still need to get to. So we recognize that there are holes there, and sort of coming up to speed on core, and that it's a bit ad hoc right now, and we want to address that, sort of, especially as we ship into Windows and make the product more visible to a larger set of folks. Cool. Publishing that one. That looks great. Would definitely love to follow up. Are experimental features still going to exist in PowerShell 7 or 7 preview only? So the point of experimental features is to be able to ship non-stable code in stable branches. So the experimental features are likely going to last. We need to find a process for removing. Yes, but we need to define a process for moving from experimental to stable. So this may be a telemetry thing that we do. It may be, just when we're feeling confident that we've used the features long enough, we wrote more tests or whatever. There's a question about Win32 OpenSSH portable, whether it will have .NET-based or PowerShell-based APIs. I think is Danny on the call? Pull it out forever. Yeah, basically no, not today. There aren't any plans, but you never know. I think that sort of thing could be in the cards if it makes sense.
I see. Okay, hold on. Just something I just learned, by the way.
Yeah.
Just for your FYI, Joey.
Yeah.
In the Q&A, if I type an answer when it's new and I respond, it becomes a private response. So a lot of responses I've been making, unfortunately, have only been going to the person who opened the question. So the trick is you got to publish the question and then respond to make it so everyone can see the response. So this is very annoying because now a bunch of stuff I typed. Only one person
I see that too.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
That is annoying. Yeah, we're learning. Be patient with us, please.
I believe, Joy, you still will publish the transcript, right? I think you can still get that.
There's something I can get. I don't know what's going to come out of this. We're gonna figure it out on the fly. We're gonna work with the teams. So just everyone be patient with us.
So now I'm gonna just publish the question rather than answering them here, and then I have to switch back to the other one to answer them.
It's annoying. Yeah, I think I know the PM who owns the live events, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet on a couple things, but I think I'm going to set up some time with him and just go through our experience. And this is, I think, a prime use case for this. So we'll touch base with them and again get this all worked out. I totally, you guys are all 100% right on what your feedback is here. I agree with everybody. Okay, I'm going to continue moving forward, and then Steve, if you can loop the questions in as I'm going to let you manage that and stop trying to do it with you, kind of thing.
All right.
figure out what to build next. Okay, so we have a couple thoughts. These are a little bit unrelated to what we've been talking about thus far. Obviously the big shipping thing for PowerShell 7 is compatibility, but we always want to be looking to the future, and there are a few opportunities that we're thinking about incubating that may lower, the burden of doing sort of cross or heterogeneous management from PowerShell. So basically, we have this provider model today. It didn't work quite as great as we wanted it to, but with OneGet, or package management, we had a provider model that supported multiple types of packages, right? So there's sort of this, hey, I register a provider for Chocolatey or for MSIs or for PowerShell Get or all these different things. And then, I sort of have this clearinghouse within package management. There were that I could, sort of mitigate the differences in how package installation worked. Unfortunately, packages are not really pieces of data that get passed around between machines or that are really used for, they are, but they're not quite in the scope of what we're thinking now. So we think these other opportunities are going to work a little better than that. We're looking at 3 things, I think, Steve. We were looking at so tracing / logging. I think like alerts of some kind, and then credentials. So with all of these, we're thinking, okay, say I generate a trace, I might want it to go somewhere else, right? So today, that if I do start transcript, that's going to get written to ETW or to syslog on Linux. ETW being like the event viewer infrastructure on Windows. I think it's actually event tracing for Windows. So it may be useful for you to reroute that somewhere else. Maybe you have a data store that you want that to get logged to. Maybe that's local. Maybe it's up in the cloud. Maybe it's on another machine on your infrastructure. And so, you might have a logging provider like a Splunk or a Datadog that you want that stuff to get routed out to. And so there may be a provider model where it makes sense for us to sort of register different endpoints that transcripts and traces may get written out to. Very similarly with alerts, there was this idea floated the other day, maybe, when a certain type of exception gets thrown, or if a script hits a terminating error, maybe there's some sort of model where, like we have Azure alerts, for instance. Is there a place where, or for a provider model to throw those sorts of things so that people can get notified, server now, PagerDuty, those sorts of scenarios. The last one, credentials, I think Sydney's been incubating, and so feel free, Sydney, to jump in here and speak to it more if you'd like. But basically, this would be figuring out how to mitigate credentials that live in multiple places. So people do key rotation all the time. They might mirror their credentials between Azure Key Vault and HashiCorp's Vault. I think VMware has an offering. AWS has an offering. We also have local credential management. So you have SSH keys on your box. You have GPG keys. You've got stuff sitting in the Windows credential store. You've got certificates. So how do I securely, we had this secure string thing before. That's not as secure on Linux or Mac as it was with Windows, but they have ways of handling cryptography and of passing secrets that are secure. And so is there a way that we can build a pluggable model for sort of routing those secrets, certificates, and credentials between both local and cloud places? And so those are the sorts of provider models we're thinking through, and we'd love to get feedback from you guys on whether or not you think that's something that would be useful to you, and of those, which would be most useful, sort of where people's pain truly lies. So, Sydney, was there anything you wanted to add there?
I just covered that.
Okay.
Well done, Joy.
Sorry. Sydney's going to have an awesome document on everything, and it's going to go into way more detail than I could have here. So it's, this is just, I'm just sort of teasing more than anything, and seeing if people have some stuff to blast in the Q&A. So Lombardi asks, are these providers like file system registry, et cetera, or a new paradigm / extension to that model? It would not be like a PS provider. I'm using the term provider here with a lowercase p. Like it means pluggable model, plug-in model, extension model. It's just, there would be a way to register. I'm a Azure Key Vault credential guy, and then that's you can plumb the credentials out that way. So, yeah. Steve, how are we doing on questions? What do we got?
I think we're all right. I kind of just had targeted answers for some very specific questions. There's some questions about OpenSSH. There's an outstanding issue that annoys me to no end because I keep forgetting about it until I rediscover it, which is if you set up PowerShell for remoting over SSH, then you can't have any white space. And of course, because PowerShell core by default installs program files, you're going to have that white space. So yes, they are aware of it. My recommendation is get you and all your buddies to upvote that issue. It's an open issue already in the OpenSSH, in the Win32 OpenSSH repo. And the workaround for now, which is probably why they're not treating it as a high priority, is to create a symlink to the folder that contains the PowerShell core. That will work. But yeah, it's pretty annoying.
I will say, when we go into Windows, it's likely, like I noodled on this with Ali some more, and I think there's a chance that we go into System 32, which would fix that one too, for inbox at least. But yeah, we should talk to the SSH folks and see if we can get that one worked out again. I did post the telemetry RFC, Mark, for your question here. To do open issue with OpenSSH issue.
So there is a question on package management, and Edwin is on the call, so I'm gonna just call him out here. But I think Sydney also owns this, so.
Which question is it?
It is, if you look in the published questions, there's a specific issue number 6, so it's pretty old. I haven't opened it myself.
So it says, what is the status for update package for package management? 1GET, it's been open since 2014 and longest open issue. It's a main blocker for no chocolatey provider. It's issue 6.
We don't have any immediate plans to work on that. I realize that that's kind of disappointing for a lot of people. At the moment, we are focused on PowerShell Get and the gallery rather than other stuff in package management that's not like directly required for those scenarios.
Yeah, so I will say that, we realize there's a problem there in terms of, Windows package management all up. There's nothing I can speak to right now, but, there are conversations happening and we're investigating what can be done. But as Edwin said, I don't think there's any investment in 1GET is on the horizon.
Lombardi had a follow-up question that was sent privately about the provider statement that you made. So one clarification, I think provider was definitely maybe the wrong term because provider is very highly associated with a PowerShell provider. So it's really about a plugin model where the way you think about it, like talking about the credential one, right? It's like we want to provide a way in PowerShell where you can manage credentials easily. And the credentials may be in like Azure Key Vault, it may be in AWS, it might be like in Keychain on Mac OS, or it might be in the Cred, what's the Windows one? Cred.
It's the Windows Credential Store, yeah. Yeah,
Windows Credential Store. So the idea here is like we want to provide a pluggable model so that either we or other people could write a plugin, and now through a command or a single set of commands, you can manage your credentials across different stores, right? So that's kind of the idea. So provider here really meant pluggable model, and someone would have to write those plugins. Like we would. Yeah.
I would liken it. It's analogous to the way that package management had what they called providers and registered those as different package types.
Yes.
I think it was get package provider or something like that. There was one question I saw that was, this one about the functions. Okay, so we can get down to that. Again, if anybody has thoughts on the tracing, logging, alerts, credentials, all that, would love to hear it. We'll probably open some kind of meta issue, Steve, tracking that.
Yeah, probably should.
Open a meta issue, and then people can have a discussion there, and we'll link to that in the notes. Cool. Moving on to Azure Functions. So there's a question here about, hey, Azure Functions has experimental support. Are we going to get 7? What's going on? You're in luck, Kelvin. I think you probably missed the last call. Functions has been with PowerShell 6.2 against the V2 runtime has been in private preview with a select set of people for the last couple months. We plan on launching the public preview probably very likely before the end of April, and possibly even sooner than that. So you will be seeing non-experimental support. It works totally differently than the V1 model. It is only PowerShell core, no Windows PowerShell. The programming model is much more native to PowerShell and oriented around objects as opposed to the text-based approach that was used in the V1 experimental, and a lot of this has been implemented by folks on our team. So I think Tyler's on the call, Dongbo as well, have been working really hard on the PowerShell worker to make sure that what function ships is very native for PowerShell customers, and that it takes advantage of our specific features and programming model. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. There'll be a blog on the Azure blog. There'll be a blog on the PowerShell blog. That's something we've been wanting to get out for a while now, and we're really excited about. So the more usage we get in public preview, the sooner we can GA that thing by feeling confident that it's working for folks. So please jump on it, try it out, tell us what you think. There's a repo already. I will publish link to the repo where we've already been having discussions about how the programming model works and been getting feedback from folks, and that's where we expect issues to be filed when we do go live. So just keep your eyes peeled, and we're hopefully you're as excited as we are. So, cool. Yes. Oh, that's private reply, so I have to publish. Yeah, that's really bad. Publish, scroll down. Yes, there will be recording some kind of. Okay. Joel says something is very undiscoverable, but it's not threaded. Oh, stop putting preview modules on the test gallery, put them on the actual gallery with a preview flag. So I think there's a reason for this, because I think some of the preview modules do get published to the real gallery with a preview flag. And I'm not sure that they are looking for you to discover the ones in the test gallery, but I could be mistaken, and I can talk to them.
Hey, I can talk to that briefly.
Oh, cool.
The Azure folks and we don't expect anyone to get anything off the test gallery. So there shouldn't really be any scenarios where you need to go there in order to find something that you're supposed to be using. There is a kind of behind the scenes scheme where stuff goes into the test gallery very briefly before it's published into CloudShell, so that we can kind of sim ship some stuff, both in CloudShell and for everybody else to download at the same time. But if you're finding that there's something you can only obtain from the test gallery, then somebody's done something wrong. And please report the name of the thing that it is that you found, or the issue that you're having, cgadmin@microsoft.com, or submit an issue through the gallery.
I think that was just the end of the statement.
Yeah, that was all I had to say. I was
making sure you weren't cut off, because suddenly it got really quiet. So there was a question that came up about Azure automation. Yes, they are currently stuck on Windows PowerShell 5.1. We've had discussions with them about seeing if they can move to PowerShell Core 6. There are no immediate plans for them to support PowerShell Core 6. Joey, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Thank you. I was. So yeah, I will say yeah, we don't have any immediate plans there. We will continue talking to them, but we want to find out, how functions fits with folks. A lot of those scenarios, there is some overlap. There's some delta as well. Obviously, you have all the module management, credential management. There's some of that in functions, but it works a little differently. So we're gonna evaluate this for now and just sort of see where things go. But would love to see too if there's some of the automation scenarios that you want to try out in functions, see if they work the same. That'd be great to see. But right now I think Azure Automation, they don't have any plans to move to 6 yet. Cool. We're at 10:21. This has been fun, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. Can new releases for DSC Resource Kit modules be updated to use Semver? So I'm not aware to what extent they aren't using Semver today. My understanding was that breaking changes did get major version updates on the modules. I don't know that the resource kit itself should be versioned because it's really just a conceptual collection of resources. But I would file an issue at github.com/PowerShell/DSC resources if you have an issue there. But they are still updating pretty frequently there. Really glad to hear, Kelvin, that we're making you happy there. Joel asked about an Azure AD module on the test gallery isn't available normally. That's that'll be published eventually. Okay, we got anyone new? Can the PS team please speak with the? Oh, okay. Oh, this was a private reply. I don't understand why these private replies, like you guys are replying to yourself.
Yeah,
but it's coming in as private. It says Azure Functions doesn't allow you to talk to on-premise environments, so they're not an option. It's also tied to using DSC code. So Azure Functions does support Azure VNets. It works slightly differently, but that is a way to bring on-premise stuff into Azure. There's some other stuff that is being incubated as well that will hopefully make that connection easier. But we recognize that today, and I'm not saying today that Functions is a replacement for automation for some reasons like that. So all these modules use a 4-digit version number. That was also a private reply, unfortunately. Is a 4-digit version number not Semver? I'm not sure I understand the question.
On V2. There's no four digit.
Yeah, there's no. They're still, I think the thing is they're still using the old system.version type.
Got it.
Partly because there's no official Semver type in .NET right now. We have our own. We'll have our own tables when we move off of it, but
I'm still not sure. Like 1.3.0.0 and 6.2.0.0 and 2.6.0.0. I'm not sure how it's not Semver. Like, and I'm pretty sure those, the reason one of these is on 6 is because it's had lots of breaking changes. So, yeah, like I said, we aren't allowed to public reply. Do you guys have like a new switch versus a published versus a dismissed? Like, I don't know how it looks with the Q&A on your screen, but I can only public reply if I'm in the published tab.
yeah, Joel is saying that literally no button for it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
So I think maybe the recommendation for now is to make another question.
Yeah, it just makes the threading very difficult.
That way everyone can see it.
But we will, like I said, I'm going to go back to the Teams guy. I'm going to go, this is what we hit. Like, how are we supposed to be doing this? Because this is how we want to use it.
Somebody posted in the question list that there's a guy in Office that does this differently.
Yeah, I saw that. The problem is that he had to invite everyone to like a fake organization and like make them all guests of the org, which is what we're trying to avoid because we have 52 people here and we have a different set of folks every time. And I don't want to have to set up like a forum and an org and be managing users and all that sort of stuff. I just want it to be public. Yeah, it's I'm going to talk to that guy as well, find out, what he learned from the Teams team, but it's a work in progress. We appreciate everybody being patient. We only have an ask question. We can't even reply to the previous question. Yeah.
You see what they see.
Yeah.
And I expected actually the chat to work. I didn't think that you guys were restricted from the chat when I enabled the Q&A. So
Yeah.
it's very can you guys even see the chat? The other
No, those of us who are authenticated, yeah, I can see the chat. I mean, I can post something there.
That shows up on your screens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's annoying.
I can see the questions, but I can't
You don't see the chat. So Sean is also constrained.
Yeah, he came in, I think because he's part of the org, it added him, but he wasn't added as a presenter or something like that, but you can talk, so I don't understand.
IRC chat, yeah.
Next, we'll have this better.
Yeah, we'll figure it out next time.
I'm talking through Steve's mic.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're all using my laptop because we couldn't join the room.
Well, I see Danny, Heyman, and Sean are others invited, but they don't show in the meeting. So I don't know, but I think we're at time. I don't see any more. Yeah, we may use Twitch. Like that's probably what's going to end up happening. So appreciate everyone's patience again. I think we're at time and we don't really have anything else for you. So get these notes cleaned up, published out. Oh, last thing, obviously PowerShell Summit is coming up in a week and a half. We're all doing a bunch of talks. I think, I don't know their policy on recordings for this year, but hopefully there's some recordings there. I don't expect those talks to be under NDA, so hopefully folks can tweet and talk about them and stuff like that. So lots of good stuff happening there. And then of course the conference in June in Europe we will be at as well. So also Microsoft Build, if anybody's attending that, that's the first week of May. We will have a presence there. There will be a booth on the floor. So if you're going to be there, come by and say hi, get some stickers. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and leave this up for just a couple minutes, just to let folks trickle out. But this is, yeah, this was our April call. Really appreciate everybody joining.
Hey, Joey.
Yep.
I'm streaming after this. If anybody.
Oh. Yeah, check out Tyler's live stream. I will make an announcement here. What's your twitch.tv/Tyler Leonhardt?
Yep. You got it.
So Tyler is streaming right after this at boom, and we will again have a sort of a cast to that going as well. So thanks everyone.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.